Hello everyone, I am Boomy and today I have a quick guide on how to build Senna as an AD carry. If you go to the bot lane as an AD carry, this is the guide for you. And in fact, we are gonna do an item set that you guys can copy, and this way you will always have this ready for when you most wanna use it. Now, first, we assign this set for Senna specifically. This way we will see and we will get it every single game. Next, for the starting items, really, it's pretty simple. You want always your warning totem, and then, however, let me explain you why you want Doran's sword and not other variants. Now, first, the most popular one that people go instead of Doran's sword is in Doran's blade, sorry, is the Doran's shield. Why? Because for the shield, people tend to think that, oh, if I get poked, maybe this heal will actually help me a lot. However, with Senna, she actually has a built-in heal as well as heavy AD scaling spells, especially the ultimate. So you do want that extra AD, which is very useful. It gives you also a lifesteal and some health, which all that combined really is almost like if you had these plus the extra damage, So really, for Senna specifically, the Doran's blade completely outclasses the Doran's shield. Next, another variant I've seen some people go is the call, but the problem with the call is that you are also forgetting some of. Wait, why am I not getting information over here? Well, yeah, the problem with the call is that you are forgetting some of the statistics that this item has, like the HP especially. This means that you will be very squishy, so at all times you want the Doran's blade. Then you have, of course, your red pot to begin with, but when you back, you may want to have the refillable potion available very quick at hand. So here it is. Next, it's always nice to have this at hand as well, so that you can remember to buy one. And finally, the Firelight alteration, so that as soon as you get level 9 and unlock this, you can just buy it. Remember, changing or swapping from this, from the standard ward to the Farsight alteration is very important, because as an AD carry, there are a lot of threats in this patch specifically. I'm thinking of Rengar. I've seen a lot of Rengar, Zed, Akali, Irelia is coming back. Like, there are a lot of heavy damage, heavy hitters. So you want to be able to ward from a safe distance, at least past level 9. Now, this is only for the laning phase. Like you can see, very simple, very straightforward. But once we start getting the items, we must always rush the mana immune over here, except for one specific scenario. Now, why do we rush the mana immune? Because it just straight up gives you the absolute best and highest damage that you can have, on Senna. Now, this works okay. Let me put it this way: not the mana immune, but the Muramana, which is the upgraded version, gives you the highest damage for Senna. There's no other items that give Senna as much damage as that, including Infinity Edge, as well as other damage items. So you always want to rush this, except for one scenario. And this scenario is when you are fighting all the time, your support is perma-engaging, the enemy is perma-fighting, so there's a non-stop fight. That is when you really do not want to rush these, because this means that you will have to go to the tier phase. And if you go to the tier, you will be very, very weak in comparison to someone that is going something like a BF sword. So if you are forced to buy, or rather, if you are forced to back without much money, because there's no stop fighting, do you think that buying the tier will help you win that fight? No. For this specific scenario, in fact, you want the Duskblade of Draktar, which, by the way, you can put it like this: one standard build, and then your heavy, let's put it skirmish heavy, situation. Now, after this, there's absolutely no other variation that is better than this, just because really Senna has a very set amount of items that give her damage, and if you change a bit those core items, your damage straight up decreases, you know. Even though um, building Infinity Edge may seem like juicy, it actually does not give you nearly as much damage as these two. So next, let's keep going, okay? Now, once you get how was this card? I forgot. Well, if I completely forgot. Oh, I'm like blank right now. Yeah, once you get them an immune, next you go to the Draktar over here. Why? Again, you want that damage going, and this will give you that. After this, there's another item that keeps your damage high at basically at all times, and it's the Ghost Blade. This is the core standard build for Senna. Why? Simply, you get the most damage from each. This is like Senna is different from other characters that you may have different variations, but for Senna, only a set amount of items really work at its best. And funny enough, once you go past the Jomus Ghost Blade, you will be very interested in you will be very interested on what you go next, because here is when situational items like the Edge of Night become very important. Even though it is not the most optimal for damage, it is very nice for the utility that you get. With this Edge of Night, you will be able to have the spell shield and a bit of lethality, HP, and attack damage, which is amazing if you are against some of the assassins, that drum these days every single match. However, let's put it over here, situational. Again, this is a situational, and you only want it if you are getting killed a lot by assassins, or they have something like a Sejuani that you wanna dodge. The ultimate with a spell shield, but you can also go Mercurial Scimitar, any of these two. One gives you that protection up front, the other gives you the opportunity to use it whenever you want. So these are situational items. But if these situational or if these situations does not happen, you can go for a more standard build. And once you go with these three items, the next one that gives you the absolute most damage is any of these two, whether the Dominic's Regard or the, in fact, Mortal Reminder. Sorry, I completely forgot again. Let me add another one though. These two will give you the best damage that you can output once you got your standard core build. Once you get this, now you can go any of these two. Choose one for fourth item if there's no special situation. And from here, well, you choose this one if there's a lot of healing, and you choose this one over otherwise. Even if you are against squishies, Senna works in a way that this actually empowers her more than more lethality or more straight damage like Infinity Edge. So you really want this. Next, now we go for the skirmish heavy situation. Right now, like we saw over here, you don't want to go with a tier, but something that you can get a lot of damage up front. So you can go Jomus Ghost Blade and then Black Cleaver. With these ones, you will be tanky enough and have a lot of damage to deal with this skirmish. And that's what we want. We want to win these skirmishes. And I'm not talking about, for instance, in High Elo, when you go Senna, people usually... There are two scenarios. They're turbo int, or they play for next game in a way that they're playing so passive that they may as well be farming for next game. So there's no in between. However, in the lower elos, you really would like to go something like this, because people will not expect how much damage and tankiness you can have with this one. And to add to that, I have a special gift for you guys over here with Death Dance. Death. Death Dance! Yeah, with this, you will be super tanky, and you will have enough damage to just pretty much win every fight, you know. Now, let me change this over here. So choose 4 item for your core. Ah, I run out of. Okay, pick one for your core. So that's it. Okay. Next, you know, we have the situation. In fact, standard core situation 1. This is perfect. And then we have over here skirmish heavy situation 2. Now situational, this is a bit different, you know. This is more of what if the enemy has an assassin, you know. You go, you really want this, as well as GA. Where is it? Let me find it. Here we go. And with this, really, you have your full build, you know. Whew. Now, for the last item is, of course, the boots. Which boots should you buy? To be fair, Senna is very interesting in this aspect, because due to her passives, you really want something to add to her that is not attack speed, you know. So movement speed is a good variation. But sometimes, you know, if you are against Draven, Ninja Tabis will completely destroy Draven. And by the way, heavily recommend this against Draven. This heavily recommend this against, or unless the Draven is passive, you know. If the Draven is passive, you will just like to go this, and then Draven will be like, why do you do so much damage? And it's because this just boosts the damage so much of Senna. It's really insane. In fact, I've been testing it a bit, and Senna does nearly as much DPS as a Jinx, you know. So yeah, this build is very, very insane. So here it is. Now you have a very core structure that you can do, but if you want to go even more in depth with this, you can add Bloodthirster instead of Death Dance, just because you get more lifesteal. But again, this, you will have a lot more tankiness with this. If you want it, then it's perfect. Don't think that you shouldn't buy it. Again, there's another one. If you are against Zed and he's diving you non-stop, don't be afraid. This over here is waiting for you. And I think that's it for this guide. You know, pretty straightforward, because Senna items are very optimized. I really like this of Senna, you know. And in fact, usually you will see one-trick ponies of Senna, or like of a champion, have different builds that than the general public or than the pro players. But this time, or the one tricks, or at least the players that I've seen, every single player that I've seen goes this core build over here, and then they go for more, depending on the situations, you know, either this or this. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and let me give you just a fast rundown before turning out. First, starting items. You can copy this if you want. Then the standard core build for the situation 1, you know, which is every situation except when you're fighting a lot. Then the 4th item for the standard situations. And finally, what happens if there's a too much fight, you know. This is situation 2. You go this build over here, because again, if you go tier, even though the Muramana is insanely powerful, you will not get there before dying several times or losing too much farm. So you really want to counter the power that the enemy has to offer, you know. So this build over here will help you. You can even swap. You can even swap this over here if you please. I recommend this over here. And for the last item, just pick any of these and you are ready to go. Of course, for the boot, whether it is swiftness or tabais if you are against heavy AD comps. And that's it really. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.